I'm going to show you how I edit an outdoor photo from start to finish. This was taken at Flatirons Vista Trailhead in Boulder. The actions that I use are greater than Gatsby, and I'll put a link to that in my description. So the first thing I want to check is make sure my white balance is on. So I'm going to go to Filter, Camera Raw, and I'm going to take this pen tool and I'm going to select something on his white shirt. I kind of click all over and see which one I think looks best. So it wants me to put it there. I think that's a little too much, so I'm going to do it by eye and bring it down. I would say temperature of 18 and tint of -4 is probably perfect. Then I'm going to hit OK. She has a little hair sticking up on the top, so I'm going to come in and grab my remove tool on the left toolbar, and I'm going to come in and take that away. Maybe a little bit more right here. Good. Then I'm going to grab my generative AI tool and I'm going to get the rest of these flyaways on her hair. So I'm just going to circle them. Then I'm going to come down and hit generative fill and hit generate. And see which one looks best. Probably this third one here. Then I'm going to flatten. Now I'm going to start on my action. So I'm going to come over in my Greater Than Gatsby Bohemian Rhapsody collection, and I'm going to go to Gentle Light Plus Clean. I always start with this. So I'm going to click and let that run. I'm going to take this down to about 50% and hit flatten. Then I'm going to go to boost the background under AI Adaptive Brushwork. So it's going to boost our background first. I like that, but it's a little much, so I'm going to bring it down to about 55% and flatten. Then I'm going to go to pop your subject clean. And I'm also going to bring that down to about 60 and flatten. Then I'm going to go down to my one-click color base. This photo, since I've already warmed it up with temperature, I'm only going to use the Is This the Real Life Subtle Clean. If it needed some warmth, I would use this on top of this or sometimes by itself. So after I ran that, I really love that. I'm going to bring it down to about 55 and flatten. And then I'm going to come in and do my clean tone enhancements is where I'm at right now. I'm going to use Frightening Me Simple Color. And I'm going to bring that down to about 25. I'm going to use my movable sunlight action with diffuse sun. So I'm going to run that action. When you hit continue, you'll get this that pops up, the gradient fill, and you're going to take your move tool, which is this one, and you're going to move it to where you think the sun would have been. So I would say about right here. Hit OK. You're going to bring this down a little to about 57 or 60. Flatten. Then I'm going to go down to my perfect greens. This just kind of helps bring your yellows and greens down a little bit. So I'm going to use it at 40%. And I'm just going to brush it over the background with a white brush selected. Like that. And flatten. I'm going to come to my artistic color grading. The two that I use the most is We Will Rock You Polished Copper or Under Pressure Tarnished Copper. I'm going to try this one first and see if I like it. It gives the photo a little depth, so I'm going to bring this down to about there, 50%. Now I'm going to come in. If you have a lot of noise in your photo, which this one has a little, I'm going to use an evening at Live Aid. I'm going to run it, and then I'm going to take it off the details. So I'm going to turn my opacity down on this a little bit to about 70. And then I am going to take my black brush and just wipe it off of the eyes, the nose, the eyebrows, anything that you want to keep detail in, lips. I always click on the hair a little bit to kind of bring some of that back. You don't want it to be too soft. For him, I would take it off of his beard, his forehead a little bit, hair and eyes, nose, mouth. Details of the rings. I'm gonna flatten and go to, this image is pretty warm. I'll test this to see if I want to add any more warmth. I'll probably take it down to like 30 because I don't need a lot of warmth in this one. Then I'm gonna sharpen. I'm going to leave the sharpen at 50% because I don't want it to be overly sharp since this was later in the evening. I don't want too much noise to pop up. Then I'm going to go and do my skin softening of Portraiture. That's what I use to soften the skin. And I'm going to come in with a black brush once again and wipe it off the details. So eyes, nose, lips, click on the hair a little. Maybe a little on his forehead. All right, and then a little on the ring and bracelet, and I'm gonna turn this down a little to like 70%. And then I'm going to use my red nose and ears action to take off the redness from their skin. At 45%, I'm going to start because you don't want to go at 100. It may take too much red away. I'm just going to get some of the areas where she has a little too much red. Her arm. And this is without the red action, and with the red action, I really like what it did. And I'm gonna flatten. Then I'm gonna do I'm Just a Poor Boy. This is for dodging and burning pretty much. So you run it at 100%, it brings the light down, and you're gonna take your black brush at 50%. And you're going to start wiping it off in places that you want the eye to be drawn to. So I'm going to do their faces first. Then once I do that, I'm going to take the opacity even more down to about 30, and I'm going to start using it for highlights in her hair. I'm going to do it back here because she's got a lot of light hitting her hair. Do a little bit there, a little bit here, at the end of the nose. And I'm going to come and just highlight a few more areas at 25% on their bodies, so like arms and hands, chest. Anywhere where his shirt is lighter, I'm going to use it and brush it on. So anywhere where the highlights hit. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to take this down all the way, and the best thing is to slowly go up and see where you like the amount of highlights and shadows. So I'm going to do 50% and flatten. Then I'm going to come back down here and use my bright pop and pop it all once more. And that would probably be all I would do for this image. If I did anything else, it would probably be to erase a little bit of the red in the background on the mountains. The sun was hitting the mountains pretty harshly. So see how it's just taken a little bit of that red away in the back.